Here is the startup of the Tri-Fuel Firman generator, which can run on gasoline, natural gas, or propane. I'm going to show the setup the way I have it at my house, and I'll take it to the other side of the house and show where the connections are. In the garage, I have the electrical line, which this connects to the house, and this side connects to the generator. I'm going to use that. And also, I keep the natural gas hose here. This is a 15-foot hose. I really only need a 6-foot hose. So I will take these two out to the generator. Okay, I have the two hoses. The electrical hose is this large black one, and the gas line. Just gonna set those here so I can walk everything on the other side of the house. This generator has a dolly feature, and it can just be rolled, or it can be pushed. Which pushing can be easier. All right, so the electrical line on this plugs into the house. There is a line right here, so it can only go in one way. I have a connector on the house, similar to an RV. So when you plug this in, it will only go in one way. Once you get it this lined up with this mark here, it'll slide right in. And then this screws on here. So that's connected right to the house. And then on the other side here, this is just a cover. This comes off just for storage. And that goes into this plug here. It's the only plug it will go into, and it slides right in. So this 4-prong plug only goes in one way. This is a 50 amp 240 volt. And I'll show a closer connection to that. The gas line, I'm going to put this down here. The gas line has two different connections. This connection is going to go to the generator. This one's going to go to the house. It's a quick connect, so it can only go in one way. Normally, I connect the one to the house first, so I can purge this one to get all the air out. So I just take off this connection here and plug this in here. And I keep this off because inside the house I still have it off. And then this connection is going to screw onto here. And it's not going to screw on all the way, just loosely. That's to purge the gas out of here. And I'll bring in a little closer. So on the generator, this plug here is the 50 amp 240 volt 4-prong plug. These are all that's a 4-prong, but these other ones are 3-prong, so that it will only fit in this one the way I have it set up. So it just goes in with the ground up, slides in, and then this connection, it will only go in one way. This is a flared fitting. It just screws onto there by hand. And just finger tight is all it needs. So it's kind of loose here. So that way you can purge this in just a minute. I'm gonna go inside the house and turn on the gas. In the back basement closet where the main electrical panel is, there's a gas line up here. This gas line goes to my fireplace. This one goes out to the generator.
This is a shutoff here. That way if someone turns it on outside by accident. So I just take this one and turn this one on. And then inside here, right now we have power, but this is the main electrical switch for the generator. It cannot be turned on because this is in the way. The only way this can be turned on is to shut the main off to the house. This prevents us from backfeeding the generator to the main power outside to the grid. So when we have no power, I just shut off the main here and then I can turn this on. But we don't do that until after the power's going from the generator. Then we can shut this off and turn the generator on. So right now, I just came down here to turn this gas line on. When it's in line with the pipe, it's open. I'm going to grab a crescent wrench so that once I turn the gas on, I can tighten the gas connection outside to the generator. Back outside by the generator, I have my gas connection here. I'm going to open this one now, and you can hear it flowing right here. It's purging. Now I'm just going to tighten this, turn it to the right, and I'm just going to give it, let me adjust this wrench. Doesn't have to be real tight. It's a flared fitting. There. I don't like the way that looks. Let me see here. Yeah, that connector wasn't straight. So we want that to be straight. There, now it's nice and straight. Tighten this. It's still off a little bit, but it's not leaking anymore. So then what we're going to do is we're going to set up the starting sequence, which on this generator, there's a choke. There are instructions on here how to start it with gasoline, natural gas, or propane. This is already set to natural gas up. This would be propane. So this is natural gas or gasoline. Over here, we're going to set this on start, which is here, which is choked. Then the way I set this up and store it, I leave the battery disconnected so it is always ready to start. If this battery's dead, there is a pull start on the side of here. It just takes a lot more effort. So this just plugs into here. It lines up, this tab right here lines up with this one, and they just get pushed together. And once they're together, they won't come back apart. Now, if this battery is dead, when I turn this switch to on, nothing will happen. But if it's connected right, let's reconnect this. There, it's connected. You see this red light comes on and you hear it click. If you don't hear that click, something's going on. So that click turns this on. This is our starter button here. So what we're gonna do now is push the starter button. Just started. So now what I'm gonna do is put this choke back to normal and then start it again. Green light comes on. Everything's running. Now, if we did not have power, I would go downstairs and flip the switch, and I'll show you that right now. I'm going to show this the way it would be if the power was out. So here's my main panel here. Obviously, it would be hard to see. I'll open this panel, and here is that main switch. I would have to kill the main power slide this up and turn this on. Now, what I normally do is I shut off a lot of these breakers so that when I turn on the generator, it doesn't get a big draw from the house. So I would normally shut all these off, turn the main off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut off the main, but first I'm going to shut off some of these breakers so that when the main power comes back on, it doesn't have a huge draw. Most of the breakers I'll shut off are the bigger breakers, which this one's a 40 amp, this one's a 30 amp, this one's 100 amp for the sub panel in the garage. And then I can just shut off a few of these. This one's no longer used, but let me do it without shutting these off. I'm going to shut off the main right now. Then I'm going to push this up. It just pushes out of the way. But when this is on, it will not push out of the way. Push this out of the way and turn on this main. Okay, now we're on voltage from the generator. So now the main is off, the generator is on, and it's powering everything. I could turn these back on if I need them. This is the main, like I said, in the garage for the sub panel. This is probably the stove and the air conditioner outside. I know I won't run very good on the stove. You can just hear different things coming on. So now I'm going to switch back to regular power and show how to shut everything down. Switching back to main power, the first thing I want to do is just shut off the main that goes to the generator. And then this drops down automatically. That will allow me to turn on my main. Just here, these are hard to push on. I had to grab it with my palm of my hand to push this over. This is a 200 amp panel, so it's a big switch. Now I'm just going to turn on any breakers that I turned off, which are these. I think that one was off because I don't have a disposer anymore. But then what I'm going to do is go out and shut off the generator. I'm going to wait until the end to shut off this gas line. I'm just going to go out here and shut off this generator. Okay, so now the generator's off. Next, I'm going to shut off this gas line. And I can remove this quick disconnect. You're probably gonna smell gas when you first disconnect it, but the way you do this, you just push this towards the house and it will fall out. Didn't mean to let that drop in the dirt. And I'm just gonna put this cover back on. And then over here on this gas line, I'm just gonna grab my crescent wrench, disconnect the gas line, and unscrew it lefty loosey. On the main, I'm just going to pull this out. It's got 3 finger holes and you just pull it straight out. That will pull this main plug out. And I'll put the plug cover back on for storage. Over here, I'm going to disconnect the main to the house. Just unscrew it and pull it straight out. So again, this is that connector. You can see there's a connection there and there. Those are the grounds. And then this just closes. And now I just wind up the hoses. And then I like to leave this battery disconnected. You just lift up this little prong here and it pulls away. That's it. That way the battery's not drawing any stray voltage from the generator. And then I'm just going to wind up these gas line hoses. Let me get those. This side has a cover that can go on, and it just has a natural
coil to it. Get this thing coiled up here. And you will smell gas when you're winding this up. You can smell the residual gas that's stuck in the lines. Let's see if this ain't winding up correctly. Get this way over here. This is why I don't need this long of a hose. I only need a 6-foot hose would do fine. This is the hose that used to be used for the pool heater. Okay, so that's wound up. And then the same thing with this is a little harder to wind up because it's such a heavy duty cord. Put those both on there. Take our crescent wrench and we're going to head back into the garage. Oops. If it doesn't go over that way, you can pull it over. And pull it into the garage. Once the generator is brought into the garage, usually you want to let it sit for a little bit. The muffler is right here, and this gets really hot. So right now it's really hot, so you never want to put the cover on because this has a cover until it's cooled off. And then there is a little cover to put on the gas line connection for storage. The hoses will go back on the hooks in the garage, crescent wrench back in the drawer, and that's it. And then it will be ready to be used the next time. If you have any questions or comments, just leave them in the comments below and I'll answer them right away. And thanks for watching. Oh, I forgot one last step is to shut off this gas line here. It's a little hard to reach. And that's it. All right, now I'm done. Everything's back on.